All right, so let's talk about it. When the time comes and Dodge is no longer, I'm not going to say relevant, but modern, right? And I say that to say when the time comes and the Hellcat, the 392, the RT, the 5.7, the 6.4, and the 6.2 no longer exist, have you thought about what your plans are? And I say that to say, like, I know some people that are going to jump ship immediately, right? Some people are already like, listen, I'm going to ride this 392 wave out. I'm going to ride this 5.7 wave out. And then when Dodge is no longer producing V8s, I'm going to Ford. I'm going to Chevy. Because Ford is, they're not slowing down anytime soon. That Ford Mustang is going to have a V8 Coyote engine in it regardless. They're not slowing down at all. Chevy, I don't think Chevy's slowing down at all. I think Chevy's going to go the more modern day performance route, but they're still going to have that V8 under their V8 hybrid type situation with their C8. Dodge is completely getting out of the muscle car game, to be honest with you. So my question is, what happens when that happens? What do you do? Are you jumping ship, getting rid of Dodge, leaving Mopar altogether, going to Chevy or Ford, or maybe going to exotics, right? Because a lot of people like to go from Hellcats to AMGs to Porsches to McLarens. Or are you waiting? Like some people are looking forward to when Dodge no longer exists because then they're going to be able to take their 392 and get a cheaper Hellcat, a cheaper used Hellcat, right? Or take their 5.7 and get a cheaper used 392 because they're no longer in production. They're no longer as highly sought after as they once was. Have you guys thought about the future without Mopar? What's your next move? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video, man. So as you can tell, I'm in the car. That makes it a car blog. You don't know what's going down when I come around. Let's get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you're in the right place. For anyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. So I mean, like, look at it like this. So when the time comes and let's just be honest here, Dodge is no longer relevant. Dodge is no longer producing Hellcats and Scatpacks and RTs and 5.7s and 6.4s and 6.2s and everything is electrified. Basically, everybody's Dodge Charger looks like this and sounds like this, right? When that time comes, are you going to stay the course? Stay with Dodge? As in, there are some people out there that have this mindset where it's like, listen, I'm going to hold on to my 392, and then when they stop making them, or stop making Hellcats rather, Hellcats are going to be on the market for sale. Used Hellcats are going to be on the market for sale, and I'm going to go out and get me a decently priced used Hellcat. Some people look at it that way. Some people look at it like it's just a waiting game, right? I'm going to hold on to my 5.7, and then hopefully when, Dodge stops making them and the prices start to come down, I can go and get a nice, Scat Pack for the price of an RT, because right now everything is through the roof. And I don't see, these prices dropping anytime soon. So a lot of people are just going to wait it out, So some people are going to be Team Mopar for quite some time. They're actually banking on Dodge not making these cars anymore so that they can go out and get them at a reasonable price. You know what I'm saying? And then you got other people that's going to jump ship entirely. Like, listen, I'm going to ride this 5.7 392 Hellcat wave out. Once Dodge is no longer relevant, I'm getting rid of my Dodge and I'm moving to Ford. I'm moving to Chevy because if you know anything about Ford, Ford is doubling down on their V8s. Like, if anything, they're making their V8s bigger. If anything, they're making their V8s more powerful. I would not be surprised if in 2024 Ford drops some sort of Ford Mustang, I don't even know what, that's going to be 900 horsepower plus. Not to mention they already have the GTD, or is it GLD or something like that? The 2024 Ford Mustang GTD, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be putting down 800 horsepower. Now, to my understanding, that's going to be like a track car, kind of like a Viper type deal, but and of course it's going to be $300,000, which is probably out of the price range for 95% of the population. But Ford is doubling down on that, and that's nothing but V8 engine, right? I believe it's supercharged, but it's all V8 engine. So needless to say, Ford is doubling, tripling down on their engines. They have no hybrid electric BS in sight. Chevy is a little different. Chevy, to my understanding, with the C8s, they plan on doing kind of a V8 hybrid situation, which I understand that better than what Dodge is doing. You know what I'm saying? I understand them going the hybrid V8 route as opposed to completely electric. But even still, they're still going to keep that V8 engine, as kind of the foundation, and then, the hybrid situation on top. So you got options, but a lot of the options, if not all of the options, are leaving Dodge. A lot of people like to, when they have a Hellcat, and it's kind of like you reach the upper echelon or the top of the top when it comes to Mopar power, right? Like once you get your Hellcat, your Red Eye, your Jailbreak, or whatever the case may be, you pretty much reach the top of the top. Like, you know, it's not even really worth trading in a Hellcat for a Red Eye or a Red Eye for a Jailbreak. Like you're just kind of losing money to get that extra 80, 90 horsepower. So you're pretty much at the top. So a lot of people will trade their Hellcats in and go to something foreign, Porsche, Mercedes, AMG, BMW, M5 competition series. If you got money like that, I don't know, your McLarens, your Lambos, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen a lot of people go from the Hellcats to the foreign market because it's like, I've already had 700 horsepower muscle cars. Now I need 700, 800, 900 horsepower exotic cars, which is a total different, that's a different type of power. You know what I'm saying? What do you plan on doing when it's all said and done? You know, this time, not even next year, because next year, these cars are still going to be so fresh that people are still going to be, you know, scooping them up like hotcakes. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be a thing where in the next year, these cars are just going to disappear. If anything, I think in the next year, there's still going to be a rush for these cars because, for one, they're no longer being made, which makes them a rarity. Two, you're going to have a lot of people that are trying to sell their cars so that they can get some sort of, I don't know, profit from it. And three, it's just not going to die that soon. You know what I'm saying? I think that there are some things that Dodge isn't telling us when it comes to their V8 line, but I mean, I don't think Dodge is going to die within the next 365 days. But in the future, 2 years, 3 years after that, are you still holding on to your 392? You know, going into what, 2026, 2027 type deal? Are you holding on to your Scat going into then? You know, a lot of people that I know are waiting for Dodge to stop making these cars so that they can get a decently priced or moderately priced Hellcat. So is that the problem? Is that the plan there? That, listen, I'm going to hold on to my RT, I'm going to hold on to my Scat for another year, year and a half, and then hopefully I can get a good, moderately priced used Hellcat, you know, in 24 or 25. That's, you know, some people's mindset, you know what I'm saying? Which I guess makes sense because they will be cheaper then than they are now for sure. But at the same time, you know, you're still going to be Dodge. You know, you're still going to be driving a 21 or 22 in 2024 or 2025. And then, like I said, some people are just going to jump ship altogether. They're going to go to Ford. They're going to go to Chevy. If you want that muscle car American look, you'll stay with Ford and Chevy. If you want that exotic something new look, you'll go to Mercedes and BMW and so on and so forth. I mean, because the reality of the situation is just like, I mean, you know people like I know people. You know, you want the brand new. You want the new body style. You want the new interior. You want the new technology, all that stuff. All of the stuff that's in these cars have been around since 2015, to be real with you. And some people would even argue even before then, maybe 2012, 2013. Because if you compare 2013 to a 2015 to a 2023, you might see small differences, but not enough to say, oh, that's a completely different car. It still looks like a Dodge. So it's one of those things where, do you really want to be driving a 21 Hellcat or a 21 Scatpack, wide body, slim body, whatever, in 2025 when these cars no longer exist? You know, the other option that I didn't mention is, hey, listen, you might be able to go the route of the electric Charger, right? If 2024 Dodge Charger EV is all that, and of course it's coming with the inline 6 Hurricane engine, they may be able to sway some of these V8 guys, you know, and if they are, then that's another option as well. So, I mean, you can go the Dodge Charger electric route. You can hold on to your Charger, hoping to get a Hellcat at a decent price or a Scat at a decent price, or you can jump ship altogether. So you got a couple options there. You know, what are you guys thinking for the future? Me personally, I plan on holding on to this. This is not going to be the last car, obviously, that I buy or bring to the channel. But, you know, I'm going to hold on to this because I think that we'll never see something like this in the future. Even if it's just for the sake of driving it around and being that old guy driving an old muscle car, old traditional ICE muscle car, or for the fact that keeping it for a relic and possibly selling it years from now as an antique or a relic or something like that, making some serious money off of it, you've got a couple options. You know, for you Scatpack guys, naturally aspirated V8, you know, engine, one of a kind. Not supercharged, not turbocharged, naturally aspirated. You're never going to hear those words again in the future. You know, for the V8 supercharged community, That goes for the 5.7s as well, 5.7s and 6.4s. But for the Hellcat community, supercharged V8 Hemi, putting down 7-800. If you own a Demon 850, if you own the Demon 170,000 horsepower, you might consider keeping those cars because, you know, and we'll talk about this more, but I really believe that those types of cars are going to be investments, you know, because you're never going to see them again, ever, in any iteration, ever again. So, I mean, we got a couple options, man. I mean, do you want to stay on board with Dodge and see what Dodge has next or hold on to the past? Or are you going to jump ship altogether and move on? What are you guys thinking? How is Ford? I'll be honest with you, Ford is looking real good right now. Not necessarily to me because I just got, you know, Hellcat, and, you know, Hellcats and Scatpacks are still very much so relevant today as they were, you know, a year, 2 years ago. But if I'm in the market for a muscle car and I want to stay with the brand for the next 2, 3, 4 years and do kind of like I did, start with the V6, then get the mid-tier Scat Pack, and then the Hellcat type deal, Ford is looking like that company. Like if you were to go to Ford right now and get you order you a 2024 50 GT Mustang, and that's your first introduction into the muscle car world, you might be good for the next, you know, 2-3 years with Ford before they make some sort of, you know, huge change to the platform. You know what I'm saying? You could grow with Ford for the next 2 or 3 years. Dodge is on their way out. We're dying slowly as far as IC engines are concerned. We wouldn't be able to grow with Dodge. Like I wouldn't be able to get a V6 in 23 and then a Scat Pack wide body 2 years from now like I did, and then a Hellcat 2 years after that. Chevy, if you're a C8 guy, a Corvette C8 guy, Camaro is probably dead after this year as well. But if you're a Corvette guy, then you're going to be able to grow with Corvette as well. I think Chevy's going to do some crazy stuff with the Corvette. I think that Corvette is going to be like, you know, a legitimate supercar, an American sports car, an American supercar, whatever you want to call it, especially when they start releasing those upper echelon power trims, you know. But Ford is looking like the best option. I mean, I've seen the interior of that 2024 Ford Mustang, and it looks like something out of an AMG. Like, they nailed it with that. I'm not the biggest fan of the exterior, although I think that's the best looking Ford exterior that I've seen in a while from them. Not enough for me to jump ship and, you know, trade my Charger in, but I mean, Ford is doing it. Ford is doing exactly what every muscle car company should be doing right now, doubling down on what's been working, as opposed to changing up the formula or the recipe at middle of the game. But, you know, that's just my take on the matter, man. Ford is looking the best as far as American motor companies are looking. If you're getting out of American muscle cars altogether and you want to get into the exotic market, I see a lot of people that go from Hellcats and Scat Packs to BMWs and AMGs. If you got money like that, you got your McLarens, your Lambos, so on and so forth, man. So how do you feel? Are you stand down? You stand down with the family over the next, what, let's say 2 to 3 years? Or are you going to be jumping ship? Talk to me. As always, it's been your boy Knockout. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.